Are you feeling overwhelmed by the numerous factors to consider when buying a home in 2023? Do you find yourself focusing solely on interest rates, unsure of how to prioritize your needs in the modern housing market? Well, in this video, I'm going to delve into why homeownership matters more than ever and how it extends far beyond interest rates. So let's not think about interest rates right now. I want you to stay tuned until the very end. That way I can share with you the true value of homeownership so that you are better equipped to find a property that not only falls into your monthly budget, but it will also align with your personal goals and priorities. Okay, so here's a recent testimonial from a really sweet couple who decided to relocate from Texas to South Carolina, even in a time of increased interest rates. You can Google the Lattimore Group of eXp Realty to view some of our most recent reviews. Just click the View All Google Reviews link on the far right. So take a look at what they had to say. You see, this couple was looking for their forever home. There were specific qualities they were looking for. It was not just about the house and the finishes. It was also about the lifestyle and the location. Peace and serenity outweighed all of the pros and cons. Hi, I'm Latoya Lattimore. My husband and I, we have taught hundreds of homeowners and soon-to-be homeowners just like you how to overcome their fear of rates and pricing. That way they can be able to start building wealth through real estate. And today, I'm sharing beyond interest rates, this is why homeownership matters. Okay, so let's start by talking about the pitfalls of focusing on interest rates. Okay, so lately, I've talked to many homeowners and soon-to-be homeowners, and I'm finding this common trend where folks are so fixated on a 2% or a 3% interest rate. Which, let me just start by saying that was an insane time, a very insane time of real estate. 2 to 3% interest rates are unheard of. I've been in the industry since 2003. I was helping families refinance their homes when they would get into debt and they needed relief. We're talking about monthly payments all the way up to $3,000 to $4,000 when you tack on the amount that people were in debt with credit cards and the amount they were paying on their mortgage. And this is when I was living in California, where the cost of living is so high. Folks were running up debt left and right, and I was helping them refinance so they can get their payment down to a lower interest rate. So these people would take their debt, take the equity of their home, refinance their house. That way they can get some relief in their payment, where in many cases, people were able to save $2,000 to $3,000 a month because we were able to refinance them. But where I'm going with this is that sometimes those rates were not favorable at all. We're talking about people that were in 6% interest rates that probably were willing to take a refinance with the interest rate of about 12%. And I'm maybe being dramatic. Maybe there were more so around that 10% rate, but there were some that were under 12%. But people were willing to do this because they needed that payment relief. Okay. So where I'm going with this is, as a home buyer, if you're so focused on interest rates, you're going to miss the big picture. Okay. Stop worrying about interest rates because rates are going to go up and down. That's just our economy. If you let the fear of interest rates prevent you from moving forward with buying a house, then you're going to miss the full benefit of being a homeowner to begin with. Think about the interest rates that you're paying on a car right now. Think about your credit cards where you're probably paying a 29% interest rate. And if you're only making a minimum monthly payment, then you're probably going to be in a situation where you're not going to pay that credit card off unless you're able to move it over to another credit card where you're paying 0% and you actually pay the full balance off. Okay. So if you think about all the credit cards that you have where you're paying 29% interest, or maybe your car, maybe you're sitting at about a 15% interest. Okay, you're paying more on that and you're not getting a return. On your house, the interest that you pay, there are many benefits. Okay, for one, if you're in a higher income bracket, you're going to need a tax write-off. Oftentimes, and I'm going to say consult with a tax professional, but oftentimes the interest that you pay on a property, the property taxes that you pay, you're able to write that off. Okay, you're able to get some type of tax benefit. Again, consult with a tax advisor on that to get more full details. But if you let the fear of interest rates keep you from moving forward, then you're going to miss out on the benefits such as building equity. you're going to miss out on moving into a home that more suits your family size. Moving into an area where you don't have to worry about schools because you're in an area that you selected because you had an opinion of the school selection. Or better yet, moving closer to your job site. Okay, that's going to make a big difference in your daily commute if you're 5 to 10 minutes away from your job versus a 45-minute commute. These are the things that you have to look at holistically. Okay, so I want you thinking about home buying holistically versus thinking about the fact that you can't get a 2% interest rate. Okay, interest rates are going to fluctuate. That's not going to change. That's our industry. Okay, back in the 70s, the interest rates were in the double digits. Okay, so we're not in a double digit state of market right now. All right, so that's my first point that I want to make. Second point here, I want to talk about the emotional benefits of owning a home. Whether this is your first time buying a home or you're doing this for the second, third time, or like the review that I showed you, you're looking for a forever home. Okay. The emotional benefits of being in the home that you want to be in are going to far outweigh any cost associated with purchasing a home, okay? And you're probably thinking, who is this girl to tell me that means more than an interest rate? Apparently she doesn't know my financial situation. Well, let me start by saying that I've owned several homes in my lifetime. My first property that I purchased was back in 2003. And since then, between living in homes, relocating because of my husband's job, and investing in real estate, my name has been on the title of about 13 different properties. Okay, so I have a lot of experience with this. And in addition, I have helped homeowners, not being on their title, but I've helped them with renovating their properties and getting them more money out of their properties. So I'm extremely experienced when it comes to real estate. But when we're talking about the emotional benefits, I have 6 daughters, okay? In the home that we purchased last year, just recently, this past Friday, I was sitting around with my children as we were winding down for the evening, and we were sitting around the room that's right next to our kitchen. It's one of being the kids' favorite room in the house. So as we were sitting around talking and just kind of playing games and spending time with one another, my daughter walks up to me with a bag of chalk. And, you know, she tells me, "Mommy, I'm going to take this chalk and I'm going to write out on the sidewalk." I said, "Oh," and I, you know, of course I'm asking her, "Well, what are you going to write on the sidewalk with your chalk?" You know, and she tells me, you know, about our neighborhood, and she says, "Lake Carolina is our forever home." Now, the previous year, you know, prior to moving, when we relocated to South Carolina, we had settled down on what we thought we were going to stay in that home for a long time. But of course our needs changed and we wanted to be in a different neighborhood. And because my husband and I, we spend a lot of time working, we wanted to be in a neighborhood where the kids had more amenities. Okay, the only thing we had in our last neighborhood was a fishing pond and a playground. And we already had a playground in the backyard, but I wanted my kids to have exposures to a lot more children. I wanted them to be in a neighborhood where they could go for a walk. I wanted them to have pools that they can go swim in. And so we have moved to a different neighborhood and a different house, which for me and my husband, we don't get to vacation a lot because we spend a lot of time working. So to live in a neighborhood that felt like more of a resort for us was extremely necessary for life balance. So when my daughter told me that she felt like this was her forever home, I was extremely relieved and knew that I had made the right buying choice. So from an emotional standpoint, I will tell you that our family life has gone up tremendously making the decision to buy a different house. It has changed the way that, you know, me and my children interact with each other, and we are able to do a lot more as a family because of the choice that we made. So when I say that buying a home has emotional benefits, there's so many different things that are tied to that. You know what makes you happy. You know what makes your kids happy. You know exactly what it is that you're looking for. You should be spending more time in your home than you spend anywhere else. I know we spend a lot of time at work too, but when you're home, you know, being able to play the music that's comfortable for you, being able to cook in the kitchen that you like and your children sit around with you, being able to burn your candle in a quiet place and read a book, all of these things matter. Being able to have a man cave if you want one, so that you can go and kick back and, maybe play on your pool table. All of these things matter. So that's what I mean when I say emotional stability. All right, so thirdly, I want to talk about the financial benefits of homeownership. And again, this applies whether you're a first-time buyer, second, third, forever. Financial benefits are definitely tied to homeownership. So many people, they probably took their chance with the stock market and learned very quickly after the pandemic, a lot of stocks were going down. Everyone has their own investment vehicle of choice. Some people like to go to the casinos and gamble. More power to you if that's what you like to do. Others like to gamble with the stock market. And, of course, there's many different ways that you can invest your money. But I will always be a strong proponent of invest your money in real estate. You got to pay for a house to live anyway, right? Whether you're paying rent, you're going to pay to live somewhere. The advantage of paying for a home that you actually live in is that property more than likely is going to end up increasing in value, which increases your net worth over time. And if you're the type of person who wants to go out and buy multiple properties, I know some people that take the strategy of they buy a house every year or every 2 to 3 years. There's a rule in there in terms of paying capital gains if you've owned your property for a certain amount of time. So some people, they will buy a new house every 2 to 3 years. And what they do is they take that equity, and equity is something that your house gains when it gains in value. So let's say you purchased your home for $200,000. 5 years from now, it's worth $300,000. Then you have an equity gain of $100,000. And then if you sell your property, once you back out the fees and you back out anything that you've already paid in terms of paying your principal balance down, that money comes back to you. And if you decide not to sell your house and you decide to refinance or take equity out of your property with an equity line of credit, or however you choose to do that, you can use that to invest in something else. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you need to pay for your kids' college. There's many different things that you can do with that money. But most people won't see $100,000 hit their bank account at one time. But real estate has the power of doing that for you. I know, because I've done it again and again. I've sold properties that I've owned. So there's many financial benefits tied to it. Your house becomes your piggy bank. Okay, so if no one's ever explained it to you that way, and you want more information about that, my team is here. We can answer those questions for you. Just give us a call. I'll be more than happy to explain this in further detail. But I do want you to know that there are many financial benefits to it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next benefit. Okay, so now let's talk about the factors you should be considering if you're still on that, that teeter-totter of, do I buy a house? Do I stay where I'm at? Or do I just go ahead and take the plunge regardless of where the interest rates are right now? Okay, there are some things that you can truly consider to help you with that decision. Okay, I want you to think about financing options. Okay, let's talk about that first. So when it comes to financing options, you don't necessarily have to be, the person that takes advantage of all the, give me as much cash as possible, or make this to where I don't have to come to the closing table with any money so that I can get started. Okay, if you choose to do that route, that's completely fine. Just know the less money that you bring, the higher your payment's probably going to be. So you need to consider your financing, consider payments, consider location. There's so many different things to consider when you're buying a house, okay? But if you lock into these things, it's going to help you evaluate, okay, do I make the decision with this house or do I choose this house? Okay, so think about financing. There's FHA loans, which is a minimum down payment, minimal, 3.5%. You also have VA, where if you're military, you can purchase a house with no money down at all, where you're paying for closing costs, or you're purchasing a property where you're able to get it negotiated that someone else covers your closing costs, and maybe that allows you to put money down so that you get the payment that you're looking for. There's conventional loans. Now conventional loans used to be you had to put 20% down. Depending where you are financially, credit score, and all these different factors, you can even get a conventional loan with sometimes lower, with a lower amount down, sometimes as low as 3% on a conventional. So there are so many different financing options that you can consider when you're purchasing a home. The other thing I want you to think about is market conditions, okay? Be sure that you research and you understand the current market conditions, okay? Some people are fearful that I'll buy a home today and maybe 2 years from now, that house is worth less. Okay, when you sit down with an expert, we can actually tell you the history of that property. We can talk about things that are happening in that neighborhood. We can tell you if there's maybe a Fortune 500 company that's planning to come to the area that may project future growth for your home. There's so many things to consider when you're thinking about the house that you want to purchase. Maybe you considered purchasing in a different location than where you originally intended to move because you were able to find houses that are better on price. Knowing the market conditions may actually help you choose the right location for you. And I'm not going to say may, it actually will. So market conditions, we talked about financing options. Also think about the future growth potential in a home. When you choose a property, consider the development. If you're buying new construction, things like that. Think about everything that's happening in that area. If you're new to the area, make sure that your real estate agent does a really good job at telling you about the local schools or pointing you to the sites that can give you that information. Okay, so future growth potential. The other thing is your personal circumstances. And I think this is the thing that we sometimes miss as home buyers is evaluating where we are personally, okay? Personally, even though it's something that you didn't want to pay for, you may come to the conclusion that because I have this thing going on in my life right now, this is really truly where I need to be, okay? I have families where, and this is a common topic that comes up for me, is that you have folks that live in 2-story homes and they really, really need a single-story home. It's just too much getting up and down the stairs. Maybe they need knee surgery or maybe they've had knee surgery. And there's just so many different factors. If you have to purchase a different home because that is a specific need for you personally, then you know what, by all means, weigh the fact that financially you can't go wrong. Even if you purchase a home that maybe it does become a flop, which I rarely see happen, but if it does become a flop, what goes down must come up and what comes up must go down. So keep that in mind. So evaluate all those different things when you're making your decision. All right. All right. So lastly, when you're approaching buying a home this year, I want you to navigate this market with confidence, okay? There's a few different things that are going to help you gain more confidence, okay? Number one, don't be afraid to talk with a trusted real estate professional. We're going to appropriately guide you. We're not going to lead you down the wrong path, okay? Regardless of, there's so many different complexities that go on with buying a house, even if you think that if you just walk into a new construction community that you're going to be properly guided. I want you to remember that agent there, they represent the builder. So make sure you get someone who's professionally looking out for your best interest. Work with a real estate professional. We're going to answer those questions for you, okay? Develop a clear set of priorities. When I'm talking about priorities, you got to come down to, this is what I must have this. There is no negotiation about this. And then you also have to get down to the nice haves, okay? Meaning, I really would like this, but I know that this is probably something that I can add on later and it wouldn't cost me much to do it. So have a clear set of priorities, okay? Know that you need to not be so strict on your wish list to where you ultimately miss out on the greater blessing, okay? So get down to your must-haves, your nice-haves, and your deal breakers. All right, next thing is be prepared for competition. Don't think that if you see a home and you fall in love with it, that 5 to 10 other people are not falling in love with it as well. Okay, this is where that real estate professional is going to come in handy as well. All right, so be prepared for the competition. Keep an open mind. Not everything you see is going to be picture perfect ready, and that is okay. I mentioned earlier in this video that my husband and I, we also renovate properties. So if you're working with an expert that has good contractors, and knows where to go to get things for a bargain, then that will actually help you in the future with making any type of renovations or cosmetic changes that you want to make to your home. So keep an open mind. And lastly, stay informed and be patient. Okay, that's how you're going to get through the housing market with confidence right now. All right, well, thank you so much. Just to wrap up what we've covered today, we talked about the pitfalls of focusing solely on interest rates. We also talked about the emotional benefits of homeownership. We also talked about the financial advantages of homeownership. We talked about factors that you need to consider when buying a home this year. And the last thing that we talked about was navigating through the housing market with confidence. All right, so again, I thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to start viewing available homes right now that are available in the Columbia, South Carolina area, Lexington, Sumter, and some of the surrounding areas, be sure to visit our site. Okay, we pull directly from the multiple listing service, so you get the latest and greatest. All right, go to lattimoregroup.com/guides. Okay, again, that's lattimoregroup.com/guides. Okay, and that's going to take you to all of the available homes right now. All right, thanks again for watching our video on buying a home this year. If you like the video, please be sure to subscribe. Okay, subscribe, tell a friend, and don't forget to click that bell so that you're notified of other future videos that we do. All right, thank you, take care, and we sincerely look forward to helping you build wealth through real estate. Talk to you again soon.